Why the fuck would I ever buy a house when I can go and buy these things that give me money and then pay for whatever house that I want to live in? Let's use the wedding venue, right? So let's just say I've spent $7 million for round numbers. And these numbers are not relative to everyone, but whether it's 7,700,000, whatever it is, just use your own numbers. If I bought the same $7 million house in the eastern suburbs, and let's assume that I put down a 30% deposit on each. So on the $7 million house, I would have put down a $2.1 million deposit. So I had a $4.9 million mortgage, and exactly the same on the wedding venue. The $4.9 million mortgage would cost me 300 grand a year in interest, 6 grand a week, give or take. So that's just interest, and I got to pay principal, obviously. And then I'd have all my repairs and maintenance and stuff on top of that. So let's assume that that property cost me 7 grand a week to own. And if I was to rent that $7 million house out, I would get 3 grand a week for it. So essentially what I'm saying is I could rent that same house that's costing me 7 grand a week for 3 grand a week, and I'd say $4,000, but I wouldn't own it, I'd be renting it. So instead of owning it, I rented it for 3 grand a week, and I put all my money into this beautiful wedding venue. I also have $4.9 million worth of debt on, and my repayments are still $7,000 a week. But this property generates me an income now. It's a wedding venue, so it does generate me more income. Since the start of the year, to give people context, we've booked 29 weddings at an average cost of $20,000. So work that out, 600 grand in income or something. That's not all profit, that's just income, right? But let's assume that this property makes me 10 grand a week. So that's $500,000 a year. It's only costing me 7 grand a week to own. So it's making me $3,000. And then that $3,000 can go and pay my rent. So I'm essentially saying I'm breaking even here. Over here, it's costing me 7,000. Over here, it's making me 10, and I'm using the 3 profit to go pay my rent. Then what happens is any expense on this property now becomes tax deductible, even if it's owned in a company or a trust structure. If you start to make income, any expenses that go through those entities then get offset. If it's owned in my personal name, you can then claim any expense against your personal income. So if you earn a lot of money and you're paying 47 cents in the dollar, that means any dollar you spend on a property as an expense, you can then claim 47% off back. And then we run that scenario for the next 20 years. You start doing more and more of these versus just having this and paying it down to zero. And you start to see the compounding effect. And then people go, yeah, but Jack, in your own home, like, I don't want to have to move houses and rent everywhere. I don't want to be kicked out. I want to be able to hang a photo on the wall. That's just a story that you're telling yourself. I've never been kicked out of a rental, and I've rented ever since I moved out of home. I can hang whatever the fucking photo I want on my wall. If my dogs piss on the carpet, I'll replace the carpet before I move out. Fast forward to whatever age you want to retire. Let's hypothetically say that I still don't own my own home, but I've now got these investments that over time have paid themselves down and they're producing my income. Even if I have to keep renting, I can just stop going to work tomorrow, because now I have investments paying me, and out of that money, I'll just go and pay my rent. Or if I want to go live in fucking Marbella or somewhere else, I can just jump on a plane, say